Hey guys, what's up? Brian Aver with Photo Day Zombies. Today I'm going to really take a look at the Zombie Spa Factory, which helps us create our CSVs really quickly. We don't have to do them by hand as much anymore. But today I'm really going to focus on that piece of functionality with a focus on the settings file. Because the settings file is what lets you make more complex CSVs to be run with PixNode. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is open up the toolkit. And right now I'm running version 1.0.1.30, which you can see down in the bottom, even though you can't see it in the video, it's right down here. So we're going to click on the Undead Spa Factory. This will bring up the first page. Here, you're going to select your CSV, which has all of your image data, image and player data together. All right, so we are going to, the job I'm going to use today does not have QR codes. This is actually an intag job. So we're going to say it's a got photo export with an intagged workflow. This is going to be important because the application will not skip files if you're using intag. If you're using QR code workflow, it's for the most part going to ignore that very first file because it's going to assume the first image of that player is your QR code. We're not going to run any QR codes through SPA, so it just kind of skips it. So let's go ahead and select our CSV. It's going to be this one right here. Okay, so here's our data. We got all of our images with the SPA, our first name, our last name, the group or team they're probably on, and then their access code. So the settings file. The settings file lets you set up options that will be run per team per template. So for example, I know that this particular file we're working with now is actually has multiple sports, right? So it's got cross country, it's got golf, it's got volleyball, looks like, as well as some marching band. All right, so let's say on this, but I only want to use one template. Well, I'm not going to use the same template for all those sports if I want to make them sport centric. So what we can do is I can have actions created to where, hey, when you run this 4 or 5 template for this player, if they are a marching band, I want you to run the marching band action, right? If they're on cross country, I want to run a cross country action. So the settings file allows you to set up individual items per group per template, and you're going to see it here shortly. So first thing I want to do, I can generate a settings file, right? So we're going to call it just settings test. And then let's go open that settings test so you can see what it looks like. So when it's first created, this is exactly what it looks like. You have all of these options. I'll go ahead and zoom in so you can actually see them on the video. But here's all of the groups that I have in this job. And then all these are all the different options you can set up. Okay, you got basically anything that you can set up in SPA or sports photo automation is going to be in here. So you can see you got your SPA text 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hide layers, show layers, yeah, your post actions, your pre actions, new file name, subfolders, append file name, etc., etc. So to get started, the program will actually match up a template in an image or a group. Okay. In order to do anything, we need to pull in the template name. Now, this is the long way of doing it, but I want to show it to you this way so that you can see the easier way later on. So you got to almost think like a computer, right? You're telling it, hey, when you encounter any player data, right? So you encounter this first image, think you're running through SPA. When SPA loads this image, it's going to look and it's going to say, okay, he is in the high school cross country group. Now, I have this template loaded and this high school cross country. Do I need to set anything else? And this is where you can start putting in things. So we'll say we want to run static cross country. Okay. And then, is that the only cross country? Nope, there's one down here too. So I want to run static cross country also on this cross country. And then we'll say we want to run static volleyball. And we'll run this for all the volleyballs. So we got a volleyball here. We got a volleyball up here. Okay. And then static golf. So we have this golf. We have that golf. And then looks like we got soccer. Now, this is not required if you have different templates for every sport, right? So I can have this 4-5 template for volleyball, golf, soccer, whatever. But this is so you only need one template and you can handle the differences with actions if you want. But this shows you how it's going to automatically generate everything for you. Let's see, where soccer, here's another soccer here. We got static cheer. What is it? Static football. And then static marching band. Okay. And the append file name, I want to do 45T because it's a 4x5 with text on it. And that is going to be all the settings. So we're going to do one right now. But that's all I want to set. Oh, you know what? I also want to set the SPA text one because when I'm trying to load my teams on my template, like I want to have the team name or whatever, I don't want it to say freshman VB. So what I'll do here is say volleyball, golf, soccer, cross country, cheer, football, volleyball, marching band. Okay. So now close that out and I'm going to load that settings test that we just did. So what this is, it's almost like instructions for as it builds that final CSV, it's going to look and says, okay, we're working with this template. Are there any settings for this group or this team? Oh, there are. Okay, so let me update this post action one and this SPA text one. So now I'm going to select that 4x5 vertical and I'm going to add it. And if I hit next, and just because there's a lot of columns here, right? I don't need to see all the blank stuff. So I'm just going to hit remove empty columns. So now this is a SPA ready CSV for that one template. And you see that instead of having to go through the CSV and filter on each team and update each team and copy and paste and copy and paste, copy and paste, we only did it in one spot and it has updated everything for us. Okay. So now let's do it again, only let's add another template. So I'm going to pull up that settings test again. And let's add another template. This one, we're going to do the memory mates. Okay. So we got the memory mate. I'm going to pull down all the teams again. Oop. And it doesn't matter if there's some blank spots in here, right? Do MEM for memory mates. Now I want the same spa text 1 to be used on here as well. And I don't need, actually, yes, I do. I need, let's do this. Because I'm going to run a memory mate action. What a memory mate needs when you run your spa is the team file. And you see right here, I have team file. So I'm going to do this. We'll say concat. I'm just going to do this one dot jpeg or underscore mm.jpg, because that's how, for the sake of this example, I'm saying I am naming my team files. Okay, again, one spot. Yes, it does take a little bit of understanding to fill out this CSV, but whenever you are now in here, so I can go to templates, I'm going to select this other memory mate. So we're going to put this template as a memory mate. I'm going to go back to my settings because, yes, I updated the CSV, but I need to reload that CSV. So the settings test CSV. So now we have all of our other items with our memory mate naming, our team file. So now I'm going to review my data. So now, like you over here, even though I had remove empty columns, this looks empty. However, it's still there because it's not empty all the way down. We get down over halfway. Now we can see our template file has changed to the memory mate. Our append file name has changed. Our post actions now have the correct actions. We have our access code still if we need, and then a team file. So that is pretty much how easy it is to use the settings file. You just have to remember that the application is looking for a match between your template and your group or your team, but it looks for the group column because that's the default from Got Photo when this was developed. So it's looking for the group name as well as the template name. So if I go in here and I select a template that is not in there, right? So the buttons. If I hit add on this one and I go back to review, now if I scroll all the way down, notice that there's no spa text 1, there's no post action, there's no append file name, there's nothing because it was not found in that settings file. And that's fine, right? Let's say my button is super generic. It is a one-size-fits-all template because it's just a button, right? Maybe it just has their first name and last name, and that's all I need. So if I can go back to the templates, I'm going to re-add that button. So I just deleted it. I'm going to re-add it. Only this time I want to put underscore btn for button. And then I want to save it into a button folder. And now if I hit next, you can see now we have the subfolder option in the team file. But if I scroll all the way down to where our buttons are, okay, so now I have my append file name in here. Spa text 1 and post action 1 is still blank because I don't need them. It's a very basic template. And then team file is empty because it's not a memory mate. But when they are saved, they will now be saved in this button subfolder. So that's the slower way to do it, because then you have to, every time you add something to that settings file, you have to actually go through and create one for each template, one grouping for each template. The other way of doing it is, let's say I'll go through, we got a 4x5, we got these buddies right here. The other way of doing, I'm just gonna start over. Let's do this. So I'm gonna delete that setting. Oh no, I'll just rename another one. So I'm gonna load in, we're starting from scratch. I'm gonna load in my roster. I'm going to skip the settings file for the moment, and I want to add my templates. So we're going to do my 4-5 vertical. I also want the memory mate. And then I also want the button. And then let's do another one. So I'm going to create, oh, that's not what I wanted. I don't want to create a new folder. I want to create a new file. So we're going to say new, sure, I'm just going to say a text document. However, we're going to name this static underscore 2x3. Nah, I want to do a 3x1 vertical banner poster, right? .psd. Sure. Yes, I want to change it. And this would typically just be another PSD. Yes, I created a blank file, but here's our PSD. So 3x1 is what I wanted. It's not 3x1. It should be 1x3. So hold on a second. Let me change that because, hey, I make mistakes. All right, everybody makes mistakes. So we got a 1x3 vertical banner. Okay, and I want to add that. And I'm going to make this one actually. Okay, so now, why did we add these first? Well, I'm going to go, now I'm going to generate my settings file. And we're going to do settings test version 2. So when I open up settings test version 2, now we already have all of our templates added for us. And I like to add space just so I can see what I'm doing. And then you can just go through and fill things out, right? I'm going to cheat because I'm going to go to my old settings and I'm going to pull data from it. So this goes in the spa text 1, right? Come on, where are you at? There you are. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. And then I'm going to pull my actions. Now my first set of actions, this is our post action. It was not for the button. It was for the 4x5 vertical. So post action 1 there. And then we got our second set of actions. It's going to go for the team images. And then I need the team names, right? So under team file for my memory mates. Okay. And you can put whatever you want for all this. So let's say, all of your freshmen, or let's say your marching band, you want to run a different action, right? So you want to run static underscore purple. And so for your marching band, you want to run a purple action because their main color is purple. And then we'll say for volleyball, I'm just going to leave it that. Marching band, you can update this for every group if you want to. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to stop it there. All right, so we can close that out. Now I want to load that settings file. So that was the version 2 settings file. Okay, we got the static purple, we got all of our different settings. Go to next. I already filled this in, so I don't have to do anything. Now I can hit review, and I'm going to remove my empty columns again. So now you can see for, let's say, the marching band, right? For Abby and marching band, she now has both marching band and purple to be run. Notice we have a player 2 file now. So when I set up my templates, I actually selected, hey, for my 1x3 banner, we need a player 2 file. And when you select that, you get this select, hey, what image do you want in your player 2 area? So I select this second one. So if I go down now to the very end, right, because that's where our 1x3 banner is. Oh, this isn't tagged. That, again, this is why it was important, right? When I hit review and I went down, remember I selected the second image. But if I go down here and let's look at the first one, you'll see Tyler has 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. If I wanted the second one, it should be 11. But over here, you notice it's 12. Why? Because in that drop down, I'm saying that there are QR codes in here. So we ignored the first one, and so now it selected the second one. So if this one it's thinking is a QR code, technically the second image for Tyler is 12. It's not what we want. So all you got to do is just change this to untagged. Go back to review. Now we'll come back down to Tyler. Where are you at, Tyler? Oh, we're already in it. 1, 2, 3. 1x3. There we go. So now it's choosing 11. Here's the first image. That's Tyler's second image. For Thomas, second image is number 16. So it's using that second image. So when it's building all these banners, it's going to use that second image for those banners. And I didn't have to go through and select them or do anything else. All I had to do was simply select a few options. So think about how long it takes to build your CSV. You've already designed your templates. You've already created your teams. You've already created your settings file, or it takes you however long it takes you to do your settings file. I build my settings file as I'm building my templates because I look at my teams. I'm like, okay, for this template, this team's going to need these actions run, if any. And so I'm building my settings file as I go. Now to build my finished one, let's see how long it takes. So I know it's going to be the untag barcode, right? I'm going to hit next. I'm going to load my settings file. So it's going to be settings version 2. And then I need to add my templates. So I know I have a 1x3, which is a banner, and I need it to be the second image for the player 2 file. I'm going to add it. We'll say BNR for banner. Actually, you know what? I think for the settings version 2, let me look at it real quick. Yeah, I didn't put any append file names in there. So I'm going to put them in here. All right, so I did the banner. So now I need my 4x5s. So this is going to be underscore 45T. I'm going to run the same thing, only I'm going to run a different action. I'm going to do underscore 45NT. And for post action 5, I'm going to run static no text. I'm then also going to run my memory mate underscore MEM, say this is a memory mate. I'm going to run my button underscore button. So look, we got 5 templates. And I'm just going to hit review, remove my empty columns. And now look. As quick as that was, now I have a spa ready CSV that will run 5 templates all at once. Because here you just select your CSV delimiter. So we'll say I'm going to do a comma separated, and then I want to do a full run and a test run. Okay, so we're going to do full example. and then test example. And just so you guys can see the full example, here it is. Now imagine filtering this out, updating all those columns individually for 4,500 rows, right? A lot of filtering, a lot of copying, pasting. I didn't want to keep doing all that. But what I really love is the test example. It does, there's not as many, right? Instead of 4,500, we only got 61 lines. It will take one image per team per template, and it will run them all. So if you can run this and review those 60 images and see that you had to fix nothing, then you can rest assured that that 4,500 image run is going to run just fine. But that is how you use the settings file. So if you have questions, definitely hit me up in the Discord. Again, this application is in kind of a constant state of change. So if you run into any bugs or anything, let me know. I'll typically fix it that night, if not the next night. But yeah, I hope it really works out for you guys. So happy editing. Thank you for joining.
Wow.